The Gamasutra job board is the most diverse, active and established board of its kind for the video game industry. Here is just one of the many positions being advertised right now. Location: Woodland Hills, California. Infinity Ward is currently seeking a senior in game visual effects artist for an exciting unannounced project. Responsibilities, requirements. Interested? Apply now. Whether you are just starting out, looking for something new, or just seeing what's out there, the Gamasutra job board is the place where game developers move ahead in their careers. Gamasutra's job board is the most diverse, most active, and most established board of its kind in the video game industry, serving companies of all sizes, from indie to AAA. Looking for a new job? Get started here. Are you a recruiter looking for talent? Post jobs here. Marvel's Spider-Man has now sold through over 9 million copies worldwide, according to publisher Sony Interactive Entertainment. Insomniac's super-polished superhero effort reached that milestone on November 25th.
2018
Less than 3 months after it launched on September 7th, and has likely shifted a few more copies since. The acclaimed title impressed critics and consumers alike with its endearing narrative and more extraversal system, and even made it onto Gamasutra's esteemed Best of 2018 list. Sony broke the news on the same day it revealed worldwide. PlayStation 5 sales have surpassed 91.6 million units, with 5.6 million of those coming during the 2018 holidays. Not a bad news day for the Japanese outfit. The Fox Discord snuck in here today at the end of 2018 to announce something. We raised $150 million in another round of funding, led by Green Oaks Capital, the company which the new investment values at $2.05 billion seems to be riding high after the recent full-fledged launch of its own in-client game store, replete with early access system, and an attractive 90/10 share split in devs' favor. It now claims a global user base of over 200 million. Prior investor Tencent also put some money into this funding round, alongside FirstMark,
IVP,
Technology Opportunity Partners and Index Ventures. Nintendo President Shuntaro Furukawa has suggested the company might one day move away from home console development as technology changes. In a recent interview with Nikkei, translated by Nintendo Everything, the recently appointed president, who replaced Tatsumi Kimishima back in June 2018, stressed that flexibility is just as important as ingenuity in the business world, and that Nintendo must be able to adapt as the games industry evolves. Speaking more broadly, he explained the company will always strive to offer people around the world innovative and unique ways to play games. But that might not always mean building hardware like the Nintendo Switch and Wii. We are not really fixated on our consoles. At the moment we are offering the uniquely developed Nintendo Switch and its software, and that's what we are basing how we deliver the Nintendo experience on. That being said, technology changes. We will continue to think flexibly about how to deliver that experience as time goes on, commented Furukawa. It has been over 30 years since we started developing consoles. Nintendo's history goes back even further than that, and through all the struggles that they faced, the only thing that they thought about was what to make next. In the long term, perhaps our focus as a business could shift away from home consoles. Flexibility is just as important as ingenuity. You can hear more from Furukawa by checking out the full interview over on Nintendo Everything. It's well worth a read. The elegance of first-time user experience involves the lab. Even almost 3 years post-release, Valve's The Lab is still my go-to way of introducing people to virtual reality. Why? It's polished, and funny, and fun, and there is a ton of very different content to make around in. But what makes it such an ideal gateway drug for room-scale VR is the total elegance of its first-time user experience. In the last year, VR games have, by and large, improved a lot at getting players fluent at their own controls and mechanics. Beat Saber is the phenomenon it is in part because it's so easy to pick up the controllers and get caught chopping. Google has shown continued improvement in Tilt Brush and Google Earth by expanding their tutorials to slowly introduce players to their full functionalities. With Creed, Rise to Glory, Survios has finally developed an experience as accessible as it is innovative. This trend is great, but I can think of no game that introduces a new player into the fold, rather of room-scale VR, as quickly and invisibly as 2016 as alone. So how does Valve do it? Let's take it step by step. When the lab finishes loading, you find yourself in a drab, barren environment. A pair of slightly animated figures, a single wall, a spotlight, a few props, a menu, subtle ambient sound. This is not exciting. This is not Half-Life VR. What gives? Actually, the simplicity of this scene is of great benefit to new users. Just having an HMD covering your eyes can be overwhelming for some new users. But most anyone who has not experienced VR is going to find the realistic parallax a lot to take in. Simple magic is still magic, so the lack of overwhelming stimulus is a comfort, especially considering how many first-time demos take place in public. Trying to negotiate a bunch of flashing lights and moving parts, well, still aware that there are people you cannot see looking at you, well, Grandpa might find that a little intimidating. This simplicity here ensures that a new user is not going to have to worry they are totally screwing up in front of friends and strangers. But it's also very functional. That all the detail of the room is consolidated in one direction means there is no confusion about where you should be looking or what needs doing. But those buttons, they are too far away to reach without physically walking forward. After a few abortive attempts and just pointing at them, players figure out they need to walk forward. So they walk forward, and just like that room-scale tracking is understood, physically walking around virtual space is not something that anyone was fluent in before room-scale VR. First-timers I have put in Beat Saber have about a 50% chance of needing to be told they can take a step. Most everybody I have started in Google Earth does not move their body until they decide to lean down to look at a city. The functionality of the menu ensures that you understand your controllers as ways of interacting directly with the world. There's no feedback until you physically touch the menu, at which point the controller vibrates and the relevant controller button glows. So you will learn that the controller has all sorts of abstract functionality to teleportation, level selection, game-specific functions, but the concept of controllers as hands is introduced first. After selecting Play Intro, the iconic little dudes demonstrate what you are going to be doing. One of them picks up something and sticks his face in it. The motion blur suggests has been sucked into the globe. His friend rejoices, affirming this was the correct action to take. The sequence is basically a real-time 3-panel comic. Compare this approach to, say, the level of abstraction that text-based instructions for this would require, rather mysterious op. Try and tweet it. Instead, get sucked into the world it contains. Not as clear, right? Text-based verbal instructions would also need to be localized into dozens of languages. The go action is then repeated by the other little dude to reinforce the lesson. Then both controllers start vibrating to call your attention to the blinking button that will allow you to get over there. Pressing the navigate button gives you a lot of feedback. Valid teleport locations are reinforced with color, a play space box, an animated arc, an endpoint icon, and a small cylinder appearing above the valid teleport endpoint icon. I have seen a lot of noob users get disoriented by teleportation, but not ever in this room. It's always very clear where you are.